We have our winner, Thrace. They won the short victory objectives, and I really did not expect it. But we're going to continue. This is probably going to be the final episode. We're just going to go another 100 turns, so 50 years in the campaign, just to see what's going to happen. Let's have some fun with it. Now, I think overall the Romans will end up dominating, because they're going to have their Marian reforms, which is going to be a massive boost to their troops. But the British, they still have their chariots, and now that they're at war with the Romans, and clearly investing their troops into Roman land, they could do a lot of damage, because those chariots have a lot of power in auto-resolve. So if the British can get into Italy, the British could win this campaign. But if the Romans hold out, then I think they're going to win overall. This may or may not be the final episode. I'll just go 100 turns, and we'll just see what happens, have some fun with it. Alright, this is about the 10th time now the Spanish have taken control here of this Spanish settlement back. Carthage will put it under siege again, I'm sure, and then the Spanish will revolt again. I bet that's how they're doing it. I bet the Carthage can't manage the public order. Okay, so the Seleucid Empire for quite a while has been occupied with the Egyptians, and we've been dealing with them, but as we saw in the last episode, Thrace went to war with them, and a lot of these settlements down here are very open and very valuable, so Thrace, they're going to be able to take a lot, and it seems like they're already moving onto Tarsus, which is going to be a very good settlement to hold, although I think they'll probably lose the battle, as they don't really have the numbers. They keep trying for this, they're never going to take it. Eventually they will take the Amazon settlement, but poor Germans, they're losing thousands of troops there. To do this AI-only campaign I just play as rebels and ought to resolve all battles if you're wondering. Seems like the British have actually been pushed out. The Romans, they're proving to be quite tough, and they're probably going to take Massila if they can get their reinforcements in here. They're going to be able to take it. It all depends on reinforcements. It seems like they actually won a battle. They didn't take the settlement, but they seem to have defeated the British army. That's a very good move for the Romans. If they can knock out the British, then there's nothing else that can get in their way. Yep, Massila has fallen, and there's also been another change down here. Tarsus fell to Thrace, and it seems the Thracians are now, yeah, they just keep on pushing, nothing's going to stop them taking Sinop. Actually, if Thrace gets really big, and they get a load of troops on the Roman border, they could possibly be a challenge to Rome. If Rome is fighting on two fronts, that is. But Rome with Marian reforms, it's still going to be a challenge. I believe Damascus fell to Egypt. Is this the end of the Seleucid Empire? I think it is. They're going to lose Antioch as well to the Egyptians. Seleucid Empire, you were doing so well. In the time-lapse we did for this mod, they destroyed Egypt and were a dominant power throughout most of the campaign. But in this one, other way round. This proves that the Middle East is balanced though, like 50% of the time it's Egypt who wins, 50% of the time it's Seleucid Empire who wins. So it is kind of balanced between the two. Another settlement's fallen. The Greeks oddly have taken Tannes here from Dacia. That I did not expect. Of course they started with Crimea in this mod, so it's natural they'd have troops there, but I didn't actually expect them to expand out of Crimea. Ooh, could the Germans provide a challenge for Thrace? That could be interesting. The British could have won. They took their 15th settlement at last. They finally took it, and the Carthaginians don't seem interested in this one, but of course they wouldn't have won because the Romans taken Massila, would have knocked them back down to 14, so they wouldn't have won. If we were continuing with the short victory stuff, they still wouldn't have won, and it would clearly have gone to Thrace, as they're just onto 17 settlements, about to be probably 20 at some point soon. Antioch fell to the Egyptians. That's a massive blow for the Seleucid Empire. That's their last main settlement, I think. No, that's a lie. They've got these settlements here that are valuable, but still, it's not great for the Seleucid Empire. It's cut them off as well. Thrace expanding like crazy. That's another two settlements that have fallen. They've taken most of Anatolia now. They're going to get Halicarnassus this turn. The expansion of Thrace is just really impressive right now. Going to war with the Seleucid Empire was the best choice for them. It really worked out in their favour. The Seleucid Empire at this point is mostly dead. They've only got 5 more settlements left. Yeah, they're clearly really weakened at this point. I think the Seleucid Empire are done. Thrace moving all the way up here into Georgia. Seems to be a bit of a stalemate trench warfare system between the British and the Romans. Yeah, they seem a little bit stuck with these bridges trying to get through. And the Spanish are still surviving. Actually probably don't make a bit of a comeback here if they take this British settlement. I don't know why Carthage hasn't just destroyed them yet. Weird. Why is there a parsnip right next to me? I got no idea. I'm recording in the kitchen today and there's a parsnip next to me. Some carrots over there. Whatever. Let me put it in this box. There we go. Oh, I'm just feeling so sorry for the British at this point. Okay, they saved themselves here, but Carthage now at war with them. They were so close to winning, just one settlement away, and as soon as they got that settlement, they lost another one, just for Romans mocking them, and now the Romans have also broken through. I think this is the end of the British. I think they're done. I think they've lost. Carthage taking Numantia here from the British. What would be interesting is seeing Carthage as a superpower. I know someone described them as a superpower before, but when they're only limited in Africa, you know, they're not really a superpower. Carthage is actually really weak. What they need to do is get into Iberia. Now, if they can take a couple more settlements in here, then they're strong. Because they can't use their fleets that well, except they might have one invasion at the start, but for most of the campaign, they're not going to be able to use their fleets and their Mediterranean power. So these settlements here are mostly worthless for Carthage. It's only the Iberian ones that actually mean something. And there we go. The Thracian Empire now holds all of Greece, most of the Balkan territories, Anatolia, and all the way up here into the Caucasus Mountains. And they just keep on expanding. Well done, Thrace. This is a very, very impressive campaign. Sadly, they're difficult to see on the map because it blends in with the water. Ah well. But I think Thrace eventually will go the way of Britain. Eventually the Romans will go for them, and, you know, it's Rome taught to what. The mod, and the game itself and the mod is designed to make Rome win most of the time. To provide the challenge for the human player if they're playing as a non-Roman faction. But when it's an AI only, then, yeah, they're just going to dominate. Armenia has just been destroyed. Looks like it was a regicide that finished them off, losing all their generals there. That's going to be a free rebel settlement for Thrace to take, and it seems like they are going for it. I'm looking forward to the war between Thrace and Egypt, or Thrace and Rome could be a good one. Oh, as soon as I say that, Thrace and Rome are at war with each other. Now, who began that war? Difficult to tell. No one got attacked, I don't think. If Thrace can actually invade and take this Roman territory, then now's the best time to do it before they get the Marian reforms. But if they're a bit slow with it, then this could be the end of Thrace, because these are the most valuable settlements and they don't have that many troops here. If they start losing battles, it's gonna collapse. Despite being at war all the way over there in Rome, Thrace are still expanding on the Seleucid Empire, taking some of these mountain regions now, and the Egyptians doing the same as well, although they're not fighting on two fronts there. It's obvious they're going to go for Seleucid Empire. It's going to be interesting to see where Egypt... It's going to be interesting to see where Egypt goes next. Probably for Thrace, actually. And that could really be a final blow for Thrace. We've got a lot of troops here, but I don't know. They're not making a push. We're getting at the point now where their AI is not really moving that much. Like, a settlement falls every 20 turns now rather than every 2 turns. We just reach this point eventually in the campaigns. Nothing we can do. Ooh, that being said, Egypt took a massive chunk of land, actually only took Arabia. It's not the best territory, but it destroyed the Seleucid Empire and must have killed all the generals, so now, yep, Seleucid Empire, faction destroyed. Ooh. The two main powers of the Middle East are now Thrace and Egypt. And they're going to go to war eventually, and it looks like Egypt's going to start it. They've got troops on the border ready. How's this going to look? I think this could be a massive hit for Thrace. Although Thrace have more troops, but the fact they're fighting on 2 fronts, This might actually just break them. That's if they even do go to war. They're currently enjoying peacetime. Let's take a look. Their allies, okay, so there's quite a good chance they'll keep at peace for a while. But eventually I think that alliance will break, eventually. Who are Egypt at war with? Carthage, right, we're probably going to head in that direction, which is going to be a mistake for Egypt, I think, because it's going to take them so long to get there. The Romans keep trying to expand, and same with Carthage as well, into the British, but their expansion is really slow. Yeah, these British are eating up a lot of their troops. It's like it's been 50 turns since I last talked about Britain, and they've not really lost any territory. They've been under siege a lot, but they're not losing land. Like, they're held out at Lugdunum here. Ooh, Thrace trying to take her suggests that if I can manage this and start making gains against the Romans, that could be a very good sign. Of course, we wouldn't lose because the Romans just have so many troops, but still, the fact that they are the ones on the offensive is a good sign. Ooh, Spain with the comeback. Oh, can you really count this a comeback? They've taken Braca off the British. I don't know if you can count that as a comeback, really. Weird, Thrace seems more interested in Patavium. A weird move there, but they're really overextending themselves. They need to be back here with their reinforcing armies. The British making a comeback. Then they'll probably take this Roman settlement. Yeah, they actually took it. So now if the British actually start making a serious comeback against the Romans, and the Thracians keep up their offensive, then eventually I think Rome might fall under all of this. All they really need now is the Germans to start making a bit of a push as well. Or maybe the Greeks to land some troops, but no, that's too unlikely. It looks like Dacia, they've survived a very long time, but I think they're slowly coming to an end. This pile of troops gets smaller and smaller every few turns. Nope, Dacia still holds on. The British finally lost this settlement here to Carthage, and yeah, that means they're probably going to sweep in and destroy the Spanish soon, and then the Carthaginians are going to be looking really good. Load of land in Iberia, that's a good point to push outwards into the rest of Europe. The British making a push on Massilia, and also they took Saguntum, and they're probably going to take Carthago Nova as well. And the Spanish pushing on Corduba. Oh, Carthage, as soon as I compliment you, this happens. Rest in peace, Carthage. Like, they held out against the Spanish, but the fact the Spanish got that close to taking Corduba is embarrassing for them. The Spanish hold Palma. I'm assuming they must start with that. There's no way that AI went over there and took that. Carthago Nova has fallen to the British. Quite a big hit for Carthage, that is. Yeah, all of a sudden their position in Iberia is looking weak. They just don't have the quality troops. Like, they can get a lot of troops, they have a lot of settlements, they may have a big navy, but, you know, when ruled by the AI, Carthage just always fails, which is why I very rarely talk about them in these AI-only campaigns. Usually they just fail. Romans held out at Massilia, but I'm sure the British will bring another army in soon. No border change between Rome and Thrace yet, despite it being about another 50 turns. Oh, but Carthage, they've rallied up their troops, they've taken Austria, cutting the British off. But they need more troops here. Carthage is looking quite bare right now. They need more armies. Finally some expansion from Thrace again. They've finally destroyed Dacia. Bye-bye Dacia. And that just opens up, that just widens the front between Rome and Thrace. If Thrace can get some troops around here, they might be able to take that settlement. This is annoying to see. First of all, I want to see Carthage do well in Iberia for once. But the British keep pushing their troops in, and they've taken back Austria. What I also want to see is the British concentrate more against the Romans to actually destroy them. Otherwise the Romans are going to have an easy win, as they always do. So the British need to push on the Romans to help their Thracians. But they're pushing on Carthage, it's like double annoying. Complaining about the AI seems to work very well for me. The British suddenly put Massilia under siege and took it. So now the Romans really need to bring some troops away from the Thracian front over to deal with the British. And yeah, that's really not going to be good for Rome. They kind of need these troops here. It's just a mess. So I think Thrace is winning, because they are the ones on the offensive, and I think they have more troops, but it's just so difficult to tell. Mostly impossible to tell. They're still allied with the Egyptians, so they don't have to worry about that. And yeah, AI with AI alliances usually hold out. Finally, territory has been exchanged on this front. Campus Lazy fell to the Thracian Empire. Well done, Thrace. Now keep on pushing. We need these Romans destroyed. It's boring when the Romans win every single time. Come on, let's destroy them. I've got Segesta under siege. Is this the push? The Romans pushed it back, but you know, they're starting to make a bit more of a push now. I just really want to see the British get in here as well. That would be like the final blow for them if the British get into Italy. Oh, that would be deadly on the Romans. That would just collapse everything. But how close are these Romans to Marian reforms? That's going to be interesting. Because that's going to change the entire game. As I said, just complain at the AI and the AI will fix it. They've put Mediterranean under siege. I think they'll probably lose after the Romans have a lot of reinforcements around, but it means the Romans are going to have to pull troops back to Italy, and that's going to help the Thracians, because they'll have less to deal with. The Egyptians finally making a push onto Carthage, but Corduba has fallen as well. So yeah, finally Egypt has pushed on Carthage. And yeah, they'll probably push further, but it takes hundreds and hundreds of turns for them to get around here. Like, because the troops are not coming from this settlement, they're coming from these settlements here. Like, yeah, that's like 20, 30, 40 turns to get there. Then it's for AI, they're dumb, they don't take their time about it. And the AI is not smart enough to send them on ships. But anyway, Corduba falling to the British is a big move. That cuts Carthage off Iberia. Now they've got troops up here, but you know, they're cut off from the land bridge. This land bridge here was the biggest strength for Carthage, and with them losing access to that, going to be a challenge for them. The Greeks just taking Campus Samarta there from Parthia, pushing the Parthians back. And we're going to see a Parthian empire up here, a Greek empire up here. That would be very unexpected. The Greeks are all over the place though. We've got Sicily, Sardinia, and all the way up here in Crimea. Oh, they've got Patavium and Segesta under siege. They took Segesta. Can they take Patavium? Not yet, but they've still got it under siege. Ooh. Okay, so now they don't have to worry about Segesta. They've just got to take Aquincum, and then troops are going to start pouring into Italy from Thrace. This could be the end of Rome. Yep, Patavium has fallen. And that's probably it for Rome. That's one of their main settlements on the front line, like the main military settlement, because of its population. Losing Patavium is a massive hit against the Romans. Oof. Italy looks so weak on the map all of a sudden, like just losing Patavium there. And the British still coming with troops. Britain, they've crossed the seas into Africa. As I said from the very start, we're probably going to see a British Africa, colonising already, 179 BC. And they're pushing on the Spanish as well. Oof. Yes, it happened. British Africa, 177 BC. Well done, Britain. Thrace have taken Luvathum, cutting off Aquincum. I'm probably going to take Aquincum as well. Let's just give it a couple more turns for this episode. Thrace is just unstoppable, moving up and taking Campus Alani now. I did not see that coming at all. And there we go, Aquincum has fallen. The Romans have been pushed back in this episode to just holding Italy. Wow, what a downfall that was. I was sure the Romans were going to win this campaign with their Marian reforms. Because in the time-lapse where they did win, they didn't have Marian reforms. The one where they won, they were weaker. And now the one that they're losing, they were stronger. Weird. That's really unexpected. We've seen British Africa in this episode. We've seen Iberia change hands like 2 or 3 times. It started off under the control of the British for the most part. Then it fell to Carthage. We saw a little Spanish resurgence. And then it's back under British control again. Okay, but it would be wrong for me to call this the final episode. Because there's still 2 powers that could, there's still a lot of powers that could actually become dominant here. I believe it's Thrace, but seeing as though we've never seen Thrace win before or survive to the late game, it would be wrong to end Thrace's dominance, so we'll probably give it one more episode, a part 5, just to see who's going to win between the British and the Thracians, just to see. Then it will probably be the end, but if we start to see, I don't know, Parthia make a comeback and they've conquered like most of Europe, then maybe a 6th episode. Part 5 more than likely will be the final, but, you know, I don't know where this campaign's going, I've got no idea. If the AI surprises us, then we'll go for one more. Anyway, hope you've enjoyed this series. Please subscribe if you have, like the video if you've enjoyed this episode, or share with anyone you think may be interested in this. Of course, these are a very unique form of showing Talk to War that no one else does, but sadly people don't like Google search it because they don't know it exists. So that makes it difficult to get views for these. So overall, I'm mostly very reliant on people sharing these series to actually get the views for them. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this one, I certainly have, and I hope to see you in part 5. Goodbye.